All right, streaming. Okay, I think I got it to work this time. Sweet. All right, so hopefully that didn't show up on Twitch like 50 million times because it's taking me like 20 minutes to get this working. Anyways, I should probably switch it over to the game footage so that there's something to look at. There we go. That's my hotkey, I believe. Anyways, welcome to the Broken Chatbox. I am alone today because, I don't know, people just don't show up. But anyway, so we're actually going to play around with the format of the Broken Chatbox. I'm basically going to do a live stream. Let's go ahead and start a new save. I'm just going to go ahead and do the quick rundown of what we're doing to the Broken Chatbox, just in case nobody's ever seen it before. It was a kind of standard, you sit here and look at stuff like face cams, and we did a podcast and talked about games we've been playing and news. So we're still going to do that, but I'm going to kind of do it in this sort of new format where we're just going to play through a game in the background, and we're going to use that as kind of a backdrop. So we're just going to play some Sonic Adventure 2 for today, because apparently I'm solo. That's all I know. Also, I forgot to check if my audio is working. So this could end up being terrible, or it could end up being great. So we'll see what happens. So yeah, welcome to the Broken Chatbox. I believe this is episode 9. I don't know how long I'm actually going to keep that branding, but here we are. We are watching Sonic murder a bunch of people on a plane, or helicopter, sorry. Wow, this is not a plane. It kind of has like plane wings though. Is it a plane or is it a helicopter? I think it's a helicopter. Like, helicopters have wings, right? Yeah, I'm not wrong on that. And basically we watched him take out everyone on board, and then he breaks the wing of it, which means that they are probably screwed because now everyone on board is unconscious and the plane is missing half of its wing. But it's okay because Sonic's cool. He's got attitude from the 90s, so he's a badass. And then he goes down, he's like, yeah. Right? Yeah, okay, there we go. It's been a while since I played this game. It's been a very, very long time. But anyways, let's go ahead and do some podcasting stuff, I guess. I really don't know what I'm doing. For some reason, my Twitch preview isn't going, so I don't actually know what the stream is like live. I just know what it is on my end, and it seems to be working through XSplit, so hopefully it's working. Anyway, so we're playing Sonic Adventure 2. This is probably one of my favorite games of all time. Not because it's like amazing or anything like that. It has not aged particularly well, and it has a bunch of pop-in too. I never realized. I haven't played this game for like 2 years. I actually did an entire Let's Play on it. If anybody's interested in watching my old stuff, I have a bunch of that. Yeah, this is one of my favorite games of all time. I've just recently started playing it again. It does not have Cloud Sync on Steam, which means that basically when my kind of system switched over to a new operating system and everything like that, I lost my save data, and so I have to start from scratch, which I'm fine with, but I still remember this game like the back of my hand for the most part. There's a few like secrets and stuff like that I don't remember, but it's still a great game regardless. So yeah, so we'll probably be playing this probably 1 or 2 episodes or something like that in the Broken Chatbox. Yeah, I don't know, it's a great game. It's one of the first like 3D Sonic games that actually had like a lot of merit to it. However, it's also kind of one of the more hardcore ones, you could say. Like, I remember when they came out with Sonic Heroes, they're all like, hey, we need to be, like, less serious. Actually, Did You Know Gaming released a video. I haven't watched it yet. They released a video talking about Sonic Heroes, which was kind of cool. So I'm going to be watching that after this podcast. That's my plan. It's actually quite interesting. Yeah, so I've been playing some Sonic games recently. I played the originals a little bit as well. If you watch one of the previous episodes of the Broken Chatbox, we actually talked about them quite a bit. They're one of the few games that actually hold up from that era. Like, it's very, very good. It holds up even better than Mario, in my opinion. Like, Super Mario World and stuff like that, like, it's just standard kind of platforming fare. But, like, when the Sonic games came out, they're like, whoa, this is cool. And, like, the design and just everything about them are just so original that it's like, yeah, this is a completely different game that actually holds up quite well, which is quite fun. And Sonic Adventure 2 does not really share that trait. It definitely is not aging well. Like, it looks pretty terrible, but, you know, graphics aren't everything, of course. But, like, the gameplay to it and stuff like that feels a little bit stiff, especially when compared to, like, Sonic Generations and things like that. Like, Sonic Generations is easily my favorite, right next to probably Lost World. And Lost World is the least Sonic game I've ever played, so yeah. But it's still fun, so we'll be playing through it. I don't know how much I'm actually going to play through it. We might actually do an entire playthrough. I hope that we can. So we'll end up doing, like, I don't know, the hero story first or something like that. It's just going to be in the background. What are some other games I've been playing recently? I've just been basically playing 3 games. I've been playing the Sonic games just because I was actually working on a video for it. I'm not going to talk too much about that. And I was also playing through the Neptunia games as well. So I'm playing through Neptunia Rebirth 1 right now, which I've talked about that in previous podcasts if you guys have watched them. It's basically a kind of JRPG based on the entire idea of the game industry and stuff like that. So if you haven't seen those, you should check it out. But I'm actually working on a review for all the Rebirth games. I was originally going to do it so that it was like, hey, we have all 3 of the Rebirth games in one video because they're all very, very similar. I found out, going back and actually playing them, because it took me several months to finish them. They're very, very long games. But I went back to finish them, or not really finish them, but go back for that review, and I'm like, whoa, you know what? These are actually quite different. So I got a B rank. That is shameful. I should be A ranking that at least. I think A rank's the max in this game. It might go up to S rank. I think that was Sonic Heroes thing, is when they introduced S rank. May have just done this. Here we are in the Chow world. Let's go ahead and like throw some drives at. Oops. What was that? I have no idea what just happened there, but okay. Some physics bugs, so that was fun. I went forward. I think I might have hit my desk with my gamepad. I don't know. We'll see. Should we throw this one, or should we hatch it normally, or should we just leave it here? Let's hatch it. We're going to make it a happy one, I hope. Because, like, each time you go into these base eggs, I don't know if it's true in this version. I know it was in the GameCube version, but one of them is going to automatically have teeth, and if you throw him, he's grinning. If you shake him, he's smiling. And then the other one is going to either have a neutral face or a squiggly face if you throw him. So, this one is the angry one. We're going to make him my evil duo. And then we're going to go ahead and open this one. And I bet he's going to be a lovely little beast. Let's go find out if I was correct in this or not. Maybe it was the Dreamcast version. I can't remember exactly. I mean, I played the GameCube one the most. That's the one I really spent a lot of time on. There is a reflection on Sonic's eyes as well. I don't know if that's going to show up on the stream or not. Did this not open? Did I not, like, hug it enough? Come on. Let's molest an egg. Put it down. And then it should be good. Go, go. Go, go. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I've been playing through the Neptunia games. I've noticed that this is the neutral guy. Yep, there we go. No face. And then if I threw him, he would have a squiggly face. There we go. Give you those. This actually levels them up, and then they actually get like stronger and things like that. And you can use them in chow races and make them beat up other children, which is probably my favorite part about it. There is karate, and it's basically an excuse to watch little cute animals beat each other up. So that's fantastic. There we go. Now he's happy, and we'll just go back to the next story. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Yeah, Neptunia games are pretty great. I've talked about them in the previous podcast. I'll have an entire like review of all the games eventually, but it's gonna take me a long time. Like they're 40-hour games, 40-hour or more, depending on how much extra content you do. I think my first playthrough of the first game was like 36 hours or something like that, and I skipped a lot of stuff. Mostly because when I ended up picking it up originally, I was like, oh yeah, this is awesome, because like, you know, I was questioning whether I should pick it up in the first place. Like, I believe I bought the GOG version first, which was for the Rebirth 1, and I had heard a lot about the game in the past, and I'm like, you know what, I'll go ahead and try it out when I saw it on sale. It was like $5 or something like that, so I went ahead and picked it up, and then I was like, yeah, you know what, I actually like this, and I noticed all the games went on sale on Steam like a month later, and I was like halfway through the first game, so I'm like, you know what, sure, I'm gonna pick those up. So like, when I played through them the first time, I kind of had this expectation of like, hey, I need to, you know, play all of them because I want to see what happens in the story, and I really got engrossed into that, and I kept going and going and going, and then I went on to, like, I think I was in the middle of the third game, or maybe I was in the middle of the second, I can't remember, maybe it was the, like, when I just, oops, I skipped a cutscene, oh Jesus, I skipped a cutscene, guys, I'm sorry. Basically, that's when we reveal Shadow. I forgot. Sorry, I'm used to playing this normal. Can I go back? Let's go back. No! No, I skipped the second cutscene. Shite, this has all gone to hell. I'm sorry, it's not a complete playthrough. We didn't watch all the cutscenes. But yeah, basically, you know, so I was kind of in a rush because the second, like, either near the second game or the early third game, I can't remember exactly what it was, like, the fourth game in the series ended up coming out. And I'm like, oh shit, I need to play that one because it's like all new and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, this is super cool. A pair of earrings. And so I kind of like rushed through the games a little bit. I skipped a lot of extra content, and I was skipping through some of the extra dialogue stuff. I got the true ending on all the games, so I know how they actually like connect together and stuff like that. But at the same time, like, I just missed a lot of stuff, and I don't feel like I was able to fully enjoy them because of that. And so going back and playing through just Rebirth 1 has been like kind of a actually better experience. Like, I know what's going to happen, and so some of the story stuff is kind of boring, and it's a lot easier to notice a lot of the writing flaws, especially. A pair of earrings, where is that going to be? And so basically it's been fun to play through and kind of explore the additional content I didn't play through originally, but it's definitely not better. It's going to be right here, isn't it? Somewhere right here. There it is, because it's on his ear. Haha, that's hilarious. Yeah, aside from that, I've been playing League of Legends. One thing that's actually kind of interesting about League of Legends right now is they introduced a new game mode, which is called a Siege, or whatever. Well, it's like I think it's called Nexus Siege. But it's actually pretty fun. It's a nice little mode to where you're able to basically play attack and defend. And so you just have half of the map, and they have like all these different types of siege weapons. I've been having a ton of fun on that one. I want to play it with a friend, but every time I try and get my friend to play it, he's not online at the moment that I am. So that was frustrating because we were playing before the update, like literally an hour before the update. And then this was actually yesterday when this went live. And then he had some personal issues he had to go take care of. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to like hang out. I didn't do the podcast because my throat was fucked up. And so it still is kind of. So if I'm coughing, I apologize for that. Where the hell did that Chaos Emerald go? It was floating around, or not Chaos Emerald, Master Emerald piece go. There it is. I see it. I see it. I want it. Oh. Okay, so it's going this way. I've got it. Probably. This is probably my least favorite set of missions. There we go. Everyone hates these ones. The ones where you gotta go around and find the whole pieces of the Master Emerald. Because basically, the two cutscenes that we missed, by the way, I should probably mention. One, Sonic meets Shadow and then realizes that Shadow has chaos control, and he's able to kind of control time a little bit. If you want to see the cutscenes, I actually have a Let's Play of it, so you can go look it up on my channel. So if you want to go back and see those cutscenes, you can. In a square statue on a passage on the wall, so it's going to be this way? Over here? Nope, it's going to be upwards. Okay. But yeah, basically, and then the other cutscene is Knuckles and Rouge are sitting there looking at each other being like, it's mine! And then Eggman shows up. He's like, no, it's mine! And then he takes it away, and then Knuckles is like, no, it's not yours! And then he breaks it, and then the pieces go flying all over the world. Because video game logic. What other type of logic did you ever need in life?
Not too bad.
That is like 100% of the deal. So I'm going to double check and make sure the stream is still going. I've been having a ton of technical problems with XSplit recently trying to capture games. Okay, yeah, it seems like it's still live. Okay, cool. That's awesome. I don't want to sit here talking for an hour and a half nonstop without any type of content to show for it, because that would be stressful on my voice. I actually have a video that I'm working on recently on another Sonic game that I've been playing. I guess I've played a few more games, but I've been doing a Sonic Riders series for quite a while. I actually re-recorded basically everything from it, so that's been taking a while. But basically, it's gonna be a little comedy skit sort of thing, so it's kind of heavily scripted. It's mostly just me going through the game, making fun of absolutely everything I possibly can. And here we are feeding our little Chow here a bunch of animals, so I'm gonna feed him a dragon, which is a rare creature. He didn't get the dragon wings. I'm depressed. I wanted him to get the dragon wings and fly, but that's okay. We probably need to up his flying ability before he can even fly in the first place. Can I pick this guy up? Nope. I think I already fed them. Yep. See, you can only feed them the animal once, which is kind of frustrating. I wish you could like... Well, there actually is a glitch where you can feed them once, or more than once, but it's kind of annoying to use. The other annoying thing about these chows is like when you're feeding them, they'll only eat when they're hungry. Or a certain amount at least. And so all their other stats, because you end up leaving the Chow Garden, and then basically time in the Chow Garden doesn't pass until you come back. And so while I'm here, time is passing and their hunger is going up and everything like that, and they're like, I want to eat fruit, and so he'll desire more fruit. And then he'll also drop it every once in a while because they're idiots. But like, the problem is when you leave, you'll come back with a bunch more of those kind of power cores, and you'll come back with more animals, and those end up giving him stats. And so when you try to feed him, he's not hungry, but you'll end up like feeding him 500 million pets. So like, yeah, it kind of doesn't really balance out. Okay, let's not skip cutscenes. Let's just go ahead and watch them in a nearby airbase. Gonna go fancy status. It must be the island. God, the mouths in this game. It's not as bad as Sonic Adventure 1. Sonic Adventure 1 had mouths that went freaking crazy. They were like, "Wow!" and just like... I remember there's one specific scene when you're at Tails' workshop, and then Eggman shows up. And the English voice acting, like the Japanese voice acting has Sonic going, "Wah!" But like the English voice acting has like Sonic going, "Whoa!" And basically his mouth opens up to the size of his head, basically. And it's kind of like dramatized in the Japanese voice acting, because that's how the Japanese voice acting always is. And so it looks somewhat right. I mean, it's still ridiculous and obviously terrible animation, but at the same time, it's like, oh yeah, like, cool, it's going kind of crazy, but in the English voice acting, it makes no sense. It does not match up at all, and it just looks terrible, but it's also simultaneously hilarious. I kind of love that game for how terrible it is, because it's not like a really bad game. Like it's a decent platformer for its day. For a 3D fast-paced action platformer, it's decent. I don't actually think there were any better 3D action platformers back at the time that released. I think Sonic Adventure 2 came out when they were starting to get better. I think that there were a lot of 3D platforms that kind of came around this time that were starting to get decent. Like there was Mario 64 and all that came out afterwards. Actually, was that before Adventure? If that was before Adventure, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know release dates. I'm terrible. And then here's Amy. She's doing Amy things. She really doesn't do much in this game. She just kind of walks around and gets captured like 4 times and then is kind of annoying. She's just like a plot point because they wanted her in the game. I swear. I guess she saves Sonic. We'll see that later, but she actually saves Sonic. So I guess she has one major plot point, and then the rest of it's kind of like, yeah, she's there. That's it. Her leg is super screwed up in this image. I don't know if that's specific to the PC port. Like, the shading in the PC port is, like, kind of iffy all over the place. You're kind of, like, looking at certain scenes, and it's just like, I have no idea what that is. I know there's one specific scene to where you're following the president or whatever in, like, near the end of the game, I guess. And none of the sidewalk actually renders properly on the PC version. It's kind of ridiculous. So, yeah. Oh, I don't have any of the, like, special abilities or anything like that, so I can't go, like, secret areas and stuff. That's lame. I really wish I had my old save. Like, this game needs cloud save sync because this is a game that I play through like once every year or so. I mean, it's been a while since I played through it last again. The last time I was playing it, which was about a year ago, I didn't actually play through the game. I played through like half of it, and then I ended up having a hard drive kind of swap over, and so I'd lost my save data and just never came back to it. What was up here? I don't remember. I think I need my hyper boosters or whatever they call them to actually get anywhere on here. Yeah, I need my hyper boosters. The little hover boots things that Knuckles, wow, the Tails gets, and he's able to kind of glide on his shoes. People also don't like this section. Everyone's like, the Sonic and Shadow levels are awesome, and then everything else sucks. I actually enjoy these levels a little bit, with the exception of, like, 2 of these stages, and especially at the end of the game, the final stage has you go through 2 of these sections, because you have to play as both Tails and Eggman. Spoiler alert, you play as Eggman in this game, which is the first game where you legitimately play as Eggman. I think there was, I guess Sonic R you played as Eggman. You played as Eggman for, like, I don't know, like, I think after you unlocked everyone else, it was, like, the final unlock, like, even after Super Sonic was unlocked. It's kind of stupid. I don't remember much from that game. That was hell a long time ago. Let's pick up a tiger. Yay. But yeah, so basically you're able to go through 2 different sections, and yeah, they both suck, basically. It's like really dark, has like instant kill sections everywhere, and if you die in that, you have to start from the very, very beginning, which means that you start as Tails again, and then you go through that, and then I think it goes to, fuck, I can't remember. Man, my memory's fading a little bit. I'd have to go back to that stage and play it to actually remember. But yeah, you basically go through all the characters except for, well, you know, you do go through Sonic, don't you? Maybe you don't go through Sonic. I don't remember. Man, it's been a long time. It's been a very, very long time. I do love this game, though. It is easily one of my favorite games of all time, just for the nostalgia factor, really. Like, it's one of the few games I can say that I have legitimate nostalgia for, because I played it at such a perfect time in my life to where it was, like, actually influential. So, there you go. What was that? What other games have I been playing? That's pretty much it. Like, League of Legends has been my main jam for recently, next to Neptunia. I have like 20 hours back in Neptunia, and I've actually almost beaten the game again, but I have enough progress to where I'm like, yeah, I can do a review of it. Because I've beaten the game before. I actually, you know, pretty much finished it a long time ago, but it took me months to play through those games because they're so long. Just any JRPG is long, but like, yeah, so I'll probably have a video of that one coming out soon. I don't know how positive it's going to be. Those games are all right, I gotta say, until the actual 4th game in the series. The 4th game's actually really good, but the other ones are pretty meh. Like, it's got interesting combat and stuff like that. Like, it's got a semi-tactical combat, which is actually pretty interesting. So, yeah, I'll probably end up doing that review tonight, actually, now that I think about it, because I need to actually get the review done before I kind of spend too much time away from it, because it is so easy to forget things about games. Like, it's just like, you play too many of them, like, especially when it's in a series that has multiple. Like, let's say, you know, Sonic games, sometimes I'll forget things between Adventure 1 and 2, because it's like, you know, they are technically pretty similar, even though they're graphically different and everything like that. They are fairly alike in a lot of aspects. And so, it's pretty easy to, like, mix things together. And maybe that was a bad example because Sonic, like each Sonic game is very, very unique, especially in a lot of the mechanics. I mean, Adventure has a lot of the same mechanics, but they ended up improving them in Adventure 2, and it's more of a stage-based system rather than an open-world thing, which I actually like quite a bit. But, you know, you'll play through, like, let's say the classic Final Fantasies, like Final Fantasy 1 through 4 kind of blend together very, very easily when you go to the upgraded graphics and everything that they have nowadays, like the re-releases. So, yeah, they kind of blend together, especially when it's a game that has, like, almost the exact same combat system, but with, like, a little tiny few tweaks here and there. That's when it really gets difficult. So, yeah, other JRPGs I need to play through. I need to finish Tales of Zestiria. That's a crazy fun one. It's fun to play. I've got to say, the story is not captivating me, which is why I haven't finished it. And I actually kind of spent a few months away from it, so I actually got to go back to it and, like, replay from the beginning of the game. But I'll know the mechanics, and so I'll be like, hey, you know, I'll play through mechanics. I definitely remember mechanics more than story, I've got to say. Like, oh, I petted him. He's supposed to be evil. I'm not supposed to care about him. It's just like, yeah, I don't think I want to touch you. You are not the thing I want. Let's get you back over here and feed you. I've got to say, this thing is kind of tedious, this whole Chow Garden thing. You don't have to do anything about it. You can just completely ignore it if you want to, because the game doesn't require it at all, unless you want to collect all the emblems, which is what I'm going to do in this game eventually. So I may as well do it on this save. Probably won't, actually. I'll probably finish the game and then be done with it and never stream it again. I don't know, unless somebody asks me to. Also, as you, like, feed them and stuff like that, why I'm kind of, like, worrying about this guy and petting him too much is because the more you interact with them with different characters, the more they kind of have an alliance. And so there's neutral, hero, and dark. And so, you know, if I'm hero characters, I end up petting him a lot and stuff like that, he will end up becoming a hero Chow. If I do it with, like, both types of characters, or I'm very mean with some of the hero characters and just to kind of, like, give a neutral vibe, he'll be neutral, and then evil, you know, evil. That's how it goes. Alright, remember not to skip cutscenes. This is where Amy saves Sonic, the one thing she's ever done in this series. Yay!
Amy?
She's like, I'm a ninja all of the sudden. I'm from Sonic Boom. Yeah, if anybody's never seen Sonic Boom, they basically made Amy a ninja in that series. The games are terrible. I've got to say, they are probably some of the worst Sonic games. The 3DS one, I haven't played the 3DS one, so I can't really say too much about it. But, like, I heard it's okay. Maybe not on the level of, like, Sonic Rush and stuff like that, which is a game I need to go back to. I actually have it still. So those are fun games. They're really fun. 2D Sonic games. If you're ever looking for good Sonic games, everyone loves to, like, look at Sonic and be like, it's terrible. Yeah, this is a stupid cutscene. The writing in this is so... They had arbitrary points, and then they're like, we got to fill these checkboxes. And then they just didn't really do much with it, and it's like, okay. Also, the animations are crazy. And then Sonic's gone. Yep.
Wait for me, Sonic. He's such a brat sometimes.
And they use the word brat. That's a word I haven't heard for years. Brat. God, you're such a brat. I say that to my sisters because I'm a jerk. But, like, yeah. It's like, God, you're such a brat sometimes. But I always say it fondly. I'm not a bad brother. Nope, don't get any wrong ideas. I'm an awesome brother sometimes. I can be lazy sometimes. That's how it goes. Oh my God, penguin! I almost missed the penguin. Yep. Got the penguin. Oh, I missed that too. Hold on. I've got to do this legit status. I probably should have just ignored the penguin, because I normally would. Like, I'm just kind of speeding through this game because I played through it so many times. And I kind of have like a... Oh, damn it, the auto lock-on didn't work. I just jumped into the water. I've played through this game so many times. Like, I've been playing it since, you know, Dreamcast. It's kind of easy for me to play through this game. A lot of people like to say the Sonic games are easy, but I remember, you know, as a kid, going through this game, it was easy for me because, you know, obviously I played games, but this was one of those games that I would play with friends, or like friends would play it because it was so popular in the day. It was one of those games where everyone's like, yeah, I gotta play Sonic Adventure 2 because it was actually pretty notable back in the day. It was actually very, very popular. I don't have the light shoes yet, so I can't take that pathway, so we're gonna go through this way. Yay, and then we gotta go bounce, 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 bounce. Screw the drives. I remember as a kid, I was always trying to maximize my drive capacity. You can only carry a certain amount of items, and so I would always try and grab a certain number there so that I could go through the entire level as fast as possible without, you know, having a single space left in my inventory, which was always fun. And I'd always skip the penguin because the animals are required for your chaos evolutions on the chows, but they're not really required for stats, and they actually decrease different stats. And so I'd go through and be like, yeah, I need to grab this pet, but then not this pet. Like, I sped run through this game like multiple times. Like I could probably still end up doing that, you know, these days. I guess speedrunners are pretty advanced tactics these days, but one of my favorite tactics is actually what I like to call the super boost, to where you charge up and then you untap it and you actually run faster than anything else in the game, which is pretty awesome. It's a nice little speed boost, speed tactic. It's not really useful on levels like this one, but it is kind of nice to have. I don't think I'm going to go for the speed route on this guy. I'm only going to go to this first panel, but you can actually climb up above where you're actually supposed to go on this spot, and you're able to like kind of grab onto an extra little ledge thing, which is pretty nice. Screw it, let's do it. I'm probably not going to reach it because I always glitch on this part right there. Right there. Right on that little spot. That is a notorious glitch for my kind of like experience with this game, because every time I get to that spot, it's like, hey, we're going to glitch out on this wall and stuff like that. Oh, I should mention, by the way, I am in an open chat on the Broken Chatbox Discord, so if any other creators end up joining in, I don't know if they will or not. I had one person being like, yeah, I'll show up, and then he just never showed up, so there's that. I don't think I can do that without the power charge. I think I need the power charge to get through that fast enough, so I'm just going to go through the first one. I think I'm just sucking it up. What I need to do is actually skip that last character or jump across this board here. Like, I believe I can do it, but I'm not going to bother with it right now. I believe I can actually take that second spring on the right side on the bottom platform to actually get a little bit more speed. I don't remember exactly how I used to get up there, but you get up there, there's a, you know, extra rings and you get an extra life and stuff like that, and it's a bit quicker thing going on here. Let's go ahead and jump off as early as possible and get a nice little camera glitch. Let's go ahead and talk about news this week. I don't think there's any interesting news this week. Crap. I can't remember. I normally have the Discord chat to look at, and I normally post stuff in there. I did a video on some regulations that China's trying to start up. So China actually released a recent regulation kind of proposal. It's not actually enacted yet, but it would make it so that games that sell like premium boxes that have random chances and stuff like that, essentially loot boxes, they'd actually make it so that, oh, I got an E-rank. You'd have to like actually disclose the chances of different items and actually what's in that box. Like it would be like, oh yeah, so these are all the items you can get in the box and here's all the percentage chances. And they'd actually make that a law. And if you didn't follow it, you could A, get a fine from the government, and B, get your game banned from China, and then obviously future legal action, which the government would probably maybe not bother with, to be 100% honest, but you will definitely get fined, which is something that developers are not particularly fond of. So yeah, if you're releasing a game in China with microtransactions, you gotta watch out for those random chances. So if you have a 50% chance of getting something that's complete garbage, you gotta tell people that, which sounds consumer friendly, and technically it is. But, you know, in my video, I actually kind of display a second point to that, to where it's like, this could actually screw with the whole business model in general and actually cause more harm than it would good. You know, instead, what we need to do is just, you know, encourage the behavior rather than force it. So, yeah. Also, I love these blue squirrels. They give them little blue arms and stuff like that, which is fun. I like the ghosts, actually. The ghosts in this game, because you can find little ghost pets and stuff like that. There's a bunch of different little animals. I think there's like 100 of them. But you can find ghosts, and then there's a random chance that when a chow devours the ghost, it will actually just kind of not have legs anymore, so they float. It's kind of funny. Oh yeah, this is my favorite cutscene, because it's so bad. The
Hey, that's that blue hedgehog again of all places. I found you, faker. Faker? I think you're the fake hedgehog around here. You're comparing yourself to me? Huh? You're not even good enough to be I'll make you eat those words.
right there. Right there. So I'm sorry I went silent for so long. That's actually the longest I've been silent this entire time. The English voice acting has always had a sync issue. This game has been re-released like 6 times, and they have never decided to be like, hey, you know what? We're going to fix that because it's bad quality. You know how easy it would be to fix? Literally just delaying the audio file like 2 seconds. And it would fit up perfectly fine with the animation. The audio is mismatched from the animation, and the voices kind of overlap, which is... It's just... It boggles my mind they've released this game so many times and not fixed that. There's also a lot of bugs. Like, I think almost all of the bugs that were in the original are in this version of the game, because, like, they just didn't bother to fix any of it, which is kind of ridiculous. It's kind of lazy, to be honest. But I guess that's Sega these days. They're kind of lazy. Also, Sonic just fell into the water. You can actually die after you kill a boss, and it will like play this scene and then restart the mission. I don't know if it'll do it in this version, but it did it in GameCube version. Super frustrating on fights like that one because you like hit him and then fall off the edge and you go into the water and you're like, oh yeah, I'm dead now. And then it would just restart. But yeah, back on the news. China's also doing some other stuff. They have, crap, I can't remember the other one. I just recently read an article. It was actually after I did my video of it, and I ended up reading another article about another regulation. I'm like, oh, that would have been nice to know beforehand. But yeah, basically they're closing down on monetization of like free-to-play games and stuff like that. Essentially, it's like, hey, you guys need to like watch your kind of business acts because a lot of it's not consumer friendly, and not only that, like it's just scams for the most part. Like there's a lot of free-to-play games that go out there that like, we have these random boxes and stuff like that, and like they almost force you to actually buy them to actually play the game properly, which is kind of annoying. I mean, there's one mobile game that I actually enjoy called Monster Super League that kind of gets away with that because they actually give like the cash out currency out in the game like crazy. It's basically just a second currency you can just purchase, and you can actually purchase the other currency, which is gold as well, which buying gold is actually smarter than buying the Astro Gems, which is the cash out currency, which is kind of funny. But yeah, so like it's kind of fair in the sense that it allows you to progress without actually paying a ton of money. That said, if you pay money, it's definitely faster, that's for sure. Oh yeah, there's a secret here. I can get the power charge I needed in the last level. Let's go ahead and grab that. It took me forever to find this one. I found Shadows first, and I was like, all right, well, there's got to be a second version somewhere for Sonic. And then I just was randomly screwing around on this level. I think I was playing with my sister at some point, and then I noticed that there was a bunny over here, and then I noticed that there was that ring thing that I always kind of grabbed. But I heard the vroom vroom from the robot thing, and I was like, oh, what is that? And I ended up finding it, and it was kind of cool. One of the greater memories of this game. I have a lot of good memories of this game. Me and my sister actually used to play it all the time in multiplayer, which is fun. Oh yeah, one thing that's kind of interesting, this isn't really news, but I've been seeing a lot of people talking about how multiplayer games are not really popular on console, and it seems like split-screen games have been on PC more often than not. So there was a few blog posts that came out this week that I read, because I follow a few developers and things like that, and I read blog posts and things, because I'm a nerd. Deal with it. But yeah, a lot of people have been talking recently about like multiplayer experiences, and one dev specifically is working on a multiplayer platformer thing. And I was like, you know what, that's kind of cool. You know, he's talking about it. He's like, you know, consoles are very hard to work with because they have such limited hardware. And like, you know, they can't really implement multiplayer aspects with the kind of expectations they have on those consoles. And it's kind of depressing that, you know, indie games end up being the only ones with like online or offline co-op because of the fact that they can't actually afford to bring the graphics up to expectation. So it's kind of a two-tone thing to where, you know, AAA developers are like, we need to have this game looking as pretty as possible, and then basically when it comes down to it, they're like, oh, we can't make it as pretty as possible for two people. We gotta only make it for one. Random speed boost, go! Gotta love speed sets, whatever. Set pieces, there we go. That's the word. I'm stumbling words now. I've been talking for a while. This is why I need somebody else to show up on the podcast. This is open mic, so anybody could join in at any point. Nobody's gonna show up. It's been increasingly more difficult to actually get people to show up on the podcast. There we go. Boom, boom. Awesome. 1,000 points. Oh yeah, this game still uses the word rad as well. It's pretty rad. God, I've been called a rad kid so many times in my life. And if anybody grew up in the 90s, they probably know what a rad kid is.
That was cool.
Like, I was one of the kids that followed the whole grudge style, so I had holes in my jeans. My hair was always kind of messy. I never really styled it or anything like that. And I always wore my jackets open. So, yeah, I was a quote-unquote rad kid because I also liked dragons, which made me rad for whatever reason. Also, our Chow is becoming white. If they are evil, they actually turn black. We're not going to speak on Japanese commentary here. Basically, yeah, he gets I think white and blue is the default color, and then different types will actually have... because they evolve after time, like they age up and they evolve and stuff like that, and when they evolve, they actually get different forms, which is kind of interesting. So it looks like he's mostly going to end up becoming fly and swim, which tends to be the case if you just go off of power cores. I don't know if it's completely random on the power cores. I don't know if there's like robots that drop specific kinds. That's something I never thought to test as a kid, and so I just never did it. Let's see if we can get him bunny ears though, because that would be cute. Oh yeah, you can hug the bunnies. Why? I don't know, but you can hug the bunnies. I wish they would like evolve the animals and you could actually level them up. Oh god, now he's pink. Alright, well that was a lot more color than I thought I was going to have. I just kind of wanted him to have bunny ears, but now he's got bunny feet and bunny hands. I don't know the percentage chances on that type of stuff. Let's just give him a fruit while we leave. There you go. Oh yeah, here's the goodbye station. You can depart them. If you have the GameCube version of the game, you can actually hook it up to your Game Boy Advance and play a little mini game on it, which is pretty cool. And if you're on the Dreamcast, you actually have a Dreamcast mini game. And here is some awesome quality explosions from back in the day. Yes, FMV from the Dreamcast era. Actually, this is the up-resed version from the GameCube, actually, because I believe this is a port of the GameCube that was ported to the Xbox Live Marketplace, which was the HD version that was then uploaded to PSN and then Steam later on. So I'm playing the Steam version right now. And I'm getting the digging knuckles so I can dig underground and find stuff. So if you haven't been following the story, basically, everyone thought the Sonic was evil because Shadow's been going around doing bad stuff. And so he was uncaptured from a plane, presumably because he's like, you know, getting chili dogs or something like that. And they're like, hey, you've been bad, even though he's a known hero and everything like that. Like, they even have posters about Sonic saving the world. And yet they captured him because supposedly he's been bad. And for some reason, nobody notices the difference between Shadow and Sonic. They're just like, it's a hedgehog. Whatever, we're racist. Every hedgehog's the same. Whatever, nobody cares. Social commentary. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, we don't have Mystic Melodies either to go and get the bonus chow. This place looks familiar. It looks like something from Adventure 1. You know, the funny thing is, I played Adventure 2 before I played Adventure 1, originally on the Dreamcast, and so when I saw these, I'm like, I have no idea why he's saying that. Like, it looks familiar. Like, obviously that means we gotta do something with it. I never connected the dots, and then when I played Adventure 1, I'm like, oh! And, yeah, it was kind of dumb. Anyways, back to what I was saying, though, is, yeah, so story-wise, basically, Sonic was captured, and then he escaped, obviously, because he's Sonic. You're not going to hold Sonic in prison. Actually, they did hold him in prison for a while. So after we went through City Escape, which was the first level, he ends up, you know, running into Shadow, and then he's like, oh, Shadow, you're evil, and stuff like that. And then Shadow's like, yeah, oops, why did I take that? That was not intelligent whatsoever. These are the levels I'm going to struggle with, especially when we get to Rouge. Her stages are kind of annoying. But basically, then a bunch of police show up, and they're like, hey, you've been bad still, and you escaped from a plane and murdered people. And he didn't actually murder people, spoiler alert. But, like, yeah, and then he's like, okay, cool. And then he goes and gets into prison, and then Amy is going to go rescue him for whatever reason, because she's a stalker. And then, I guess saving is a noble deed. I shouldn't call her a stalker, but she knew that he got captured because that she is a stalker. And then after that, on the side story, we have Knuckles, who was just going around and getting masterpieces because Rouge wanted the Master Emerald for whatever reason. They were in a canyon for whatever reason. And then Eggman's like, I need this for my plans. And then Knuckles is like, no. And broke it. And now we're just kind of wandering around. Like, Knuckles' story bit is probably the weakest out of all of it. Like, it's a pretty weak story overall. But, like, Knuckles is easily the worst part of it because it's just like, yeah, you're just literally going around looking for pieces. Sleeping behind a pumpkin, or sleep behind a pumpkin. Let's move the train. There we go. Grab some rings, or not, or not. Come, oh my god, there we go. 5 rings. That was worth the trouble. Let's see if we can find another monitor. Let's see if we can see Pumpkin Mountain. So we need to go to Pumpkin Mountain. Which one is Pumpkin Mountain? I think it's this one. The annoying thing about these stages is it only shows you the beeper for one of them, and so you can literally walk right next to one of them and then not even see it, which is just a terrible design flaw. I think it's mostly a technical limitation, to be honest, but they never improved it in later versions of the game, so it's kind of like, yeah, whatever. It was this way, right? It was beeping, so that means it's going to be down a little bit. Somewhere over here? There we go. Sleeping behind a pumpkin. It's going to be underground. There we go. Sweet. Sad-eyed pumpkin. What's some other news? I really don't know about other news. I guess I can't just say it. Nostralius, or whatever the hell it was called, is basically up and running again. So that is the Legacy World of Warcraft server. So if you're following that news, basically it got shut down because Blizzard's like, hey, DMCA, bitches. And then they're like, oh no, it's gone. And then after a while, the original Nostralius guys, who were under, you know, kind of agreements not to run the server anymore, they kind of just passed it off and gave it to some other people for educational purposes, they said. It was kind of news a while back to where they're like, yeah, we're just going to let it kind of do whatever. We're releasing it because it's kind of interesting to know about the server stuff. And then the new guys are like, yeah, that was a total fib. Nobody gives a shit. We're actually just going to rehost it. So it's back up and running. So if anybody's interested in running on that server again, there you go. There is that. I personally will not be visiting it because I don't like World of Warcraft, to be honest, but that's the thing that's going on. I always think it's kind of interesting to support old servers. We actually talked about it, I think it was either episode 1 or 2 of the podcast. We actually had a pretty long discussion about, you know, old servers and stuff like that and having them hold up. And quite frankly, like, Ghostface Mountain, quite frankly, like, it just costs a lot to run those servers. And so, like, it's not necessarily a good idea because the amount of players, you know, they can boast as many players as actually would be on there, but like the continued usage rate of those servers of like legacy type systems, like there's a few Korean MMOs that have legacy servers. Ragnarok has tons of servers, but like nobody plays on them. Like sure, they'll play every once in a while, or like when it first comes out, everyone's like, yeah, nostalgia trip, and then like they just don't come back to it. Is it in his eye? Let's blind him. There we go. We got all 3. That took a long time. We're already halfway through the hero story, by the way. It's not too long of a game, actually. Could probably finish this in 2 podcast episodes. I don't know. Maybe not.
Too bad.
I think it would take 3, but whatever. We might not even play this next week. I don't know, because if somebody ends up joining in, I won't actually end up doing anything. So, yeah. And still, the person who said they were going to show up didn't end up showing up, so I'm just sitting here talking by myself for an hour. Here's a cutscene, another FMV thing. The people models in this are, oh my god, so ugly. Like, they're terrifyingly ugly. Like, that would just scare me. If I saw that in real life, I'd be like, you are a terrifying monster. You are made of clay from a mad scientist. Your walk animations are creepy as hell as well. I swear, if ladies walked around like that with, like, crooked legs and things, that would be hilarious. Just that was normal. I guess like some women that like wear high heels for the first time end up doing that. I know my mother's not too great at wearing high heels, so she walks kind of funny sometimes. But regardless, oh yeah, and this is when this game gets really, really dark. And he's like, yeah, by the way, I have a giant fucking cannon. And then everyone's like, ooh, it's shiny and pretty, and I'm gonna stand here and watch it blow up the moon. Boom. Yeah, it misses Earth because Eggman's a terrible shot. Actually, he's just displaying his power. That's all he's doing. And then it's like, boom, there goes half of the moon. There was actually a question to one of the core developers, one of the writers, or whatever, the lead designer. I can't remember his name right now. I'm so bad with names, and I apologize to you because I respect you so much. But yeah, they're like, why is the moon not destroyed in the other Sonic games? Because in this one, they kind of made it canon that the moon gets blown in half. And then he's just like, oh yeah, we forgot. Like, that was their excuse. Like, yeah, we just literally forgot. So that shows how much investment they have in their own stories. So that's fun. And then basically he has the Chaos Emeralds. So if you're still following, they have Chaos Emeralds. So yeah, this is where they basically make it canon that the Chaos Emeralds can connect to each other, and then they never actually mention that in any other game. This game, like, basically this game doesn't exist. Like, none of the Sonic games really exist. They're all kind of fake. Also, they have noodle arms. I always forget that, and then I notice it, and I'm like, oh god, they have noodle arms. It's so hilarious. So, yeah. Talking about serious stuff, let's go ahead and switch tones here. Vivendi is actually trying to take over Ubisoft still, so if you don't know what that's about, Vivendi is a kind of company conglomerate or whatever, and they basically buy companies and make money off of them. And they kind of determine all their marketing strategies. There is a bunny, I want the bunny. Yay, now we're running around destroying police vehicles and stuff, because why not? I don't know. I guess Sonic and friends are still wanted for whatever reason, so we're going around destroying every single police robot. We're not killing people like we are in Shadow the Hedgehog. That game is actually kind of dark when you think about it. Oh yeah, this is when they don't give you your jump jets, and you're like, ha ha, you failed, jerk, and then here you get your little jetpacks. This game has like some Metrovania elements in it, which is kind of interesting. It actually makes playing through levels again for a second time might actually, you know, have benefit. And then the Chow Garden actually makes it so that playing through all of them is kind of key, because you end up getting special pets and things like that you can get for Chaos Evolutions. You get drives, and you can actually use the rings to buy from a little shop in the Chow Garden as well. You get new menu themes, get some items for your pets or your chows. You can get new colored chows as well, and shinies and things. It's kind of cool. I like it a lot. it's one of the more interesting mechanics that they never introduced again. Like, I would have loved to see a mechanic like that in, like, Sonic Generations, like a Chow Garden. I really want a proper Chow Garden in the next, like, big Sonic game that they release. Maybe in, next year. We'll see it in the next year's Sonic game. Maybe not Sonic Mania, but the new 3D Sonic game that is made by the same team as Sonic Generations. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's probably going to be exactly what Sonic Generations is, unfortunately. Hopefully they don't, like, kind of sully it up by adding in a bunch of, like, arbitrary, gimmicky stuff like they have for a lot of the Sonic games, to be honest. Like, let's say Shadow the Hedgehog, for example, they introduced guns and things like that, which, you know, they did that for reasons. It's not like they didn't do it because they thought it was just cool and wanted to do it. It was more of the fact that, you know, fans of the series actually wanted to see it, and they're like, yeah, we should do this. And they're like, you know what, sure, we'll work on it. And they, you know, when Sonic Heroes came out, they saw the whole, oh yeah, this is pretty dark thing, you know, not working out for them, I guess. It's kind of weird. Like, Sonic Heroes was a very interesting game to come out because it was after Sonic Adventure 2 and then Shadow the Hedgehog. I believe it was after Shadow the Hedgehog. Yeah, I believe it is. Maybe it's not. I think it is. God, I can't remember. No, it is actually after. So Sonic Heroes came out before... Oh god, I just didn't jump. That was bad. It came out after Sonic Heroes. God, do I have to look this up? I can't remember. Alright, whatever. I think Sonic Heroes came out first. But anyways, the Sonic games were actually pretty dark from Adventure on. Like, Adventure 1 is actually pretty lightweight. It's pretty, you know, happy and charmful. It's got, like, serious drama stuff and whatever, because it's story. That's how you do storytelling. But, like, it was pretty light. And then, like, Sonic Adventure 2 was pretty dark. And people kind of like that. Like, this game is very much... I mean, it probably doesn't seem like it nowadays, but, like, it's very much more targeted towards hardcore gamers, in a sense. Which is one of the reasons why it's one of my more favoritive ones. And then, when they went back to Shadow the Hedgehog, people were like, yeah, we like that serious style, and we think Shadow should have a gun. Or, actually, I think it was more towards the line of they thought Sonic should have a gun, because guns and stuff like that were very popular at the time, because shooters and things like that were coming out. That's when Medal of Honor was making its reigns, and Call of Duty, the big red one, came out. And so, that was a great game for its time. I missed the old World War II Call of Duties, to be honest. And then, like, yeah, you know what? Sure, we'll work with it. And we think Shadow's the interesting character. Like, an interesting tidbit about Shadow is that Shadow was only originally going to appear in one game. Like, he was actually going to die in this game. And then they kind of, like, retconned that and brought him back in several ways. If you play through Shadow the Hedgehog, you actually learned what exactly happened. And so, basically, spoiler alert, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you because, quite frankly, nobody's going to play through that game for that information. Basically, he's saved by Eggman using Chaos Control, or Chaos Shift, because there's still the Chaos Emeralds on the ship that they're on at the end of the game. I hate this bit because there's another route you can take that has these jet planes, and there's one just sitting there, and it just makes the constant jet noise, which is super annoying. But yeah, basically, so basically Eggman saves Shadow because he uses the Chaos Control using the device that's inside the space station that they're on at the end of this game. And basically uses him to create clones and things like that, which you learn about in Sonic Heroes, and you see that back in Shadow the Hedgehog. Now, an interesting thing about Shadow the Hedgehog is that they actually introduced, like, multi-story path lines, or multi-path storylines, I said that backwards. And so, like, you learn different things depending on what levels you go through and what objectives you complete. So there's good, neutral, and bad objectives, and it actually changes the levels that you play through, which is kind of interesting. The problem is that you have to play through the game, like, 8 times to get the actual true ending and see how the game actually ends. My controls are bugged. Okay, cool. That's fun. The camera bugged my controls. Yeah, this game is not exactly polished for this day and age. A lot of old games are actually pretty buggy, I've noticed. Like, I've gone back and played a lot of older games. I'm like, yeah, I remember this game being perfect and flawless, and then I go back to it and I'm like, oh, this is a buggy mess. Yeah, so if I get hit there, it's like bugging out my controls. That's kind of weird. I don't remember it ever doing that before. I think it's doing it because it thinks that the item fell, but it didn't yet. I don't know. That's weird. Man, I'm running out of things to talk about. My voice is starting to stray. I got a D rank. I suck at this game now. I think it's because I'm just sitting here talking and just trying to play it at the same time. I'm going to go ahead and stroll through some news sections on my laptop over here. Apparently, The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus is releasing in January. We talked about that in one of the podcasts. I can't remember what episode it was. But Ultima Zix was way into that, and so he ended up having quite a lot to say about it. You know, he actually does a bunch of like roguelites and stuff like that. So if you're ever interested in that, you can probably check out his channel. Yeah, he'll probably end up covering that game when it comes out. I won't, because I haven't played Isaac that much since I got it. Like, I did some challenge series a long time ago, and I did it as a Let's Play like 2 years ago, and then I just didn't really come back to it all that much. I mean, it's not one of those games I really have a lot of fun with. Like, I enjoy it, but it's not a game I'm like, I want to play it again and again and again. It's more like one of those sit down, play it for an hour situations, and then don't come back to it for a very long time. So, like, every time I play it, there's always something new. Like, I always find new abilities, and I always, you know, unlock new stuff, which is always fun. And so that's kind of nice. But at the same time, it's not one of those games where I'm going to go out of my way to play it all the time. It's definitely not my thing. Sky Oblivion has a new teaser trailer. Nobody cares because it's not done yet, and it's not in public, and they have, like, a whole review process. Oh yeah, I didn't actually finish my thing about Vivendi. So Vivendi is trying to take over Ubisoft, and Ubisoft is making more praises to the masses, being like, hey, help us out here. Because basically, what's going to happen is if Vivendi takes over Ubisoft, you know how Ubisoft is known for being, well, Ubisoft. It'll be like 10 times worse if Vivendi takes over. They're going to be way more into the marketing and things like that, trying to push just microtransaction after microtransaction. And Ubisoft has actually been doing really well lately, like with their releases. They've been doing really well with Division updates. I know people are mad about the whole hacker situation on the game, but they've actually been doing interesting things and supporting the game, even though its player base has actually dwindled to like 10%. Like in the past, Ubisoft would have just been like, nah, screw it, whatever, we don't care. And now they're like, yeah, we're okay with it. We're going to go ahead and, like, you know, fix this up. And they released a whole new mode and everything like that. And I have a lot of respect for that. You know, praise companies when they're doing good. And then also, like, I've been playing Rainbow Six Siege. Not this week, but, you know, a while. The Ghost Room. Oh, I think I know where that's at. Oh, I want to destroy this guy. He's dead now. Okay, cool. I think I need it on 3. Do I need it on 3 or do I need it on 2? God, I cannot remember this game. A room behind the caution sign. Yeah, okay, so I needed it on 3. So let's go ahead and go to the Ghost Room. But yeah, so, you know, Rainbow Six Siege has a business model to where, you know, they're releasing a ton of DLC, but the thing is, the DLC is earnable in-game with in-game currency, which is kind of interesting. And so, like, if you play enough, you can actually just get it for free. And instead of just adding content that's just kind of, like, locking out the community, it's all content that just ends up adding to the game. And I think that's perfect. I know that Street Fighter 5 is doing that as well. Is it Street Fighter 5 or 6? I can't remember the number they're on. I don't really care. And so, you know, they have the whole business model of that, you know, you play enough, you actually just earn it. Under the Triangle Skull, that's going to be out here. I might actually be able to finish this level in a decent amount of time. This level always takes me forever because, like, this is one of the most frustrating levels in the game. Next to the space level for Rouge. Ugh, the space level for Rouge is going to be a nightmare when we get there. Oh, that was the bonus guy. I didn't kill him. Oh, God, get camera. Work with me here. Okay, so Triangle Skull is going to be... Oh, maybe it's not out here. Oh god, is it the one under the water area and I don't have the water goggles yet? Oh, I should get the water goggles, dang it. But yeah, Ubisoft has been doing pretty good recently, and so it would suck to see their kind of positive progress kind of get reversed. Now, they're not perfect. Obviously, they still do DLC and things like that. And talking about the whole unlock with in-game currency and things like that, yeah, it's going to be in that underwater section. I hate this. Alright, let's go ahead and raise the water level. But yeah, you know, obviously they just released paid DLC for... whatchamacallit, the Division, and so it's not exactly 100% foolproof, but they are, you know, doing good things, so you gotta praise them for at least, you know, doing the good things that they do, and kind of smack them on the head for the idiotic things they do, like that survival mode that they released for, the Division would have been super cool to play through if it had just been part of the base game, but it's not. You know, you actually have to buy the game and then buy the DLC. So, like, that's something I totally would have been interested in because I'm not interested in the base game itself. Oh yeah, there's Big the cat. We can see him. He's drowning. But that totally would have been something I would have been interested in, just like play through that survival mode, and I would have been streaming it like crazy too, because that's something I would have played on my free time. However, I'm not actually interested in the base game, so like I'm not going to go through, buy the game, and then, you know, buy the DLC to play that one mode for however long I end up enjoying it. I mean, maybe it's worth it, but like that's $80 for a kind of side mode. Oh, shite. Maybe it's not down here. Oh, no. Oh, no, I'm going to drown. Am I going to drown? I don't want to redo this. I'm going to drown. Oh, man. That's a bummer. I need to go through the bottom section and get the water goggles They're like little tiny swimming goggles he wears when he goes underwater, and they make him so that he can breathe forever. It's a water breather thing. It's kind of cool. Yeah, where is it? It's gonna be this way. It's down in that tunnel. I just need to do it perfectly, and I'm not very good at that. I think I need to clear those barrels, and then water comes up from them. Air comes up from them. But I'm just gonna try rushing through it right now and try and go. Get out of my way. Get out of my way. Oh no, I was supposed to go up. Oh god, I'm gonna drown again. Please no. Please no. I don't like that sound. Those are always paranoid in games. Although it definitely adds that sense of urgency. Like when you're playing through The Legend of Zelda and it's like beep, 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 beep. And you're like on a boss and you're like, oh no, 1 heart. And, you know, it kind of adds a little tension moment to it. But yeah, Vivendi. Oh god, I just did exactly the same thing twice. Wow, I am not doing that well. I'm sorry. I'm kind of tired as well. Like I took a nap before the podcast, but I've been actually sleeping during this period of time. I've been up in the morning and everything like that. I've been looking for work and stuff like that. So if anybody needs graphic design work done, wink, wink. There we go. Right there. Right there. Come on. There it is. Got it. Okay, let's get out of here before I drown to death. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, God. I'm just going to drown, aren't I? It keeps over the, you know, emeralds, and so that's fine. Oh, wait, no, I was supposed to have it. Oh. I know why. You can have it on 3 and then go from the top area that we just passed over, so you drop down into it, and then you go and get it. Whatever, we got it. I'm not going to worry about the water breathing thing. I'll grab it if we need it. It helps on the final stage, but you do not need it in any way, shape, or form. Okay, now it's down here. It's just going to be underwater. It's going to be in a wall, I know it, so I'm going to lower the water level to 2. I mean, I know it's going to be like one of those situations where we got to dig. Also, Amachow is awesome, and you can pick him up and stuff. Here, like at this. No. Hey, stop it! And then you can throw him. Yeah, he's fun. I love throwing Amachow. It's kind of funny. They don't allow you to do much with him in later games. How do you make an X with skulls? You put them in an X formation. Wait. There was an X over here. Right? Did I see it? I just saw it at the corner of my eye, and my brain just derped it. Shh. It is this way, though, I think. Is it in here? It is not in here. This is where we could have gone in to go and get that other piece, though. Is right there. So I'm an idiot. I apologize. Maybe it's down a little bit more? It's going to be down a little bit more, isn't it? Or is it upwards? Is it upwards or downwards? Come on, game. Tell me. I don't know. What's other news? Man, I just don't know what's going on in the news. I thought I saw it. I could have sworn I saw it. Maybe I didn't see it, and my brain was just messing with me. I think my brain was just messing with me. Try digging between 4 skulls. Yeah, it's going to be on a wall down there. It is where I thought it was. It's just that it's lower underwater than I thought it was, I think. Where is the 4 skulls? Oh, it's right here. Okay, so it's going to be right here. Oh, how do you make an X? There's 4 skulls, and then you put an X in the center, and then it would be like, there you go. So I think we need to climb up to the top bit, and then go ahead and go from there. Let's go ahead. Oh yeah, Division is getting DirectX 12 support. That's going to be super awesome. We do not have enough games in DirectX 12. For those who don't know, DirectX 12 is actually pretty fucking sweet. So yeah, that is if developers actually use it. So DirectX 12 ends up adding a lot more direct control over the GPU usage and things like that. So if a developer actually uses it correctly, you know, you can actually get a game with like massive performance improvements and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. It also has a bunch of different features that nobody's going to use yet, but when it does get used, let's go ahead and get this chow thing. Yay! Animals. I needed those. It also has a thing called multi-GPU support, where you can have basically SLI or Crossfire without having the same manufacturer graphics card, which is pretty cool, because SLI and Crossfire are super outdated and don't freaking work. So yeah, it's going to be super awesome to have an alternative to that might actually be worth having 2 graphics cards for. And it would be pretty interesting. Wait, what? Am I incorrect? There it is. Okay. It just gave us a skull for some reason because that made the X. Lol. Alright, anyways, back on the topic. Yeah, so there's not enough games with DirectX 12 support, and like SLI and Crossfire are basically god-awful, but it would be nice. You know I'm kind of a niche gamer at times. I play a lot of Japanese games especially. But like, there's certain games that run better on NVIDIA or AMD hardware. You know, specifically, the Darksiders Warmaster Edition that came out actually has problems on AMD cards. So it'd be nice to have, like, if you have the money for it, having a high end of each brand. And then if you ever ran into a niche case like that for somebody like me, it would be totally worth it to just be like, yeah, you know what? I can just turn off this graphics card and use this one instead. There we go. So that would actually be pretty cool. I mean, that's my dream setup, is just to have that. And that'd be nice, because I'm not into the whole siding with one kind of manufacturer. Like, obviously, I'm more into NVIDIA right now because they are the top dog, and so, you know, you kind of stray wherever the wind blows that way, really, because if you go against the wind, you're really only hurting yourself. But, you know, I need high performance and things like that, so I end up going with NVIDIA. I'm currently running a 1070 and everything like that, so I've shielded quite a bit of money for them, but that is... it's worth it, to be honest. This graphics card runs quite amazingly. Although I've noticed a lot of older games are actually having problems with newer hardware. The Neptunia games I was talking about earlier, like the 4th game in the series, has like this weird problem to where, you know, I have to run the game in full screen for it to like work properly, or else it like over renders one thread. There's a problem with that game, with the game's engine, which is the Fear engine, or whatever, Fira. I think it's Fyra. It's like F-H-Y-R-E? Anyways, they use it for pretty much all their JRPGs. And it has a problem with their rendering engine, to where if you try and have the GPU like manage its own render threads, which is what a lot of newer games are doing, it's called threaded optimization, because basically it lowers the CPU weight and everything like that. It tries to use draw calls from the CPU and other rendering techniques that are rendered on the CPU. And so when it tries to grab that, it can't find it, and so it ends up overloading a single thread. So it still ends up working. See, the shadows are broken. What is with that? That didn't happen before. That's another example, you know, newer hardware working on older games that just doesn't quite look right. So, yeah. But yeah, back to Neptunia, you know, so like it ends up overloading one thread. Like, it doesn't do anything visually. But, like, since it's not finding that code, it just grabs it from the GPU, but the engine doesn't know to stop searching on the CPU, so it overloads a single thread, which tanks performance on any hardware. And so I also know that there's also cases to where Final Fantasy 13 on PC actually overloads one thread because they moved all the rendering threads onto a single thread, and they can't be moved to the GPU because it is a console port, and the way the consoles worked on the 360 and PS3 was that the CPU kind of handled all of that rendering information, which was kind of unfortunate, and then the GPU just did all the hard work, which is kind of a roundabout way to do it, and most of that is probably due to like VRAM usage and things like that, because that is a very texture heavy game. And so when you run into problems where I have a lot of textures that I need to load and I don't have a lot of memory space, you know, you kind of have to use the RAM instead of visual memory as well. Although there are certain games, I was watching one podcast. Oh yeah, you gotta hold A to go. I just held the right trigger to go automatically, and it's like, nope, this doesn't work. And I'm like, uh-oh, we're slowing down. This is the racing segment of the game. Sonic games love to change up what they're doing, even if it's terrible. Like, even like Sonic the Black Knight. I've never played it, but I've seen it, and it's like, they kind of change what they're doing throughout that entire game. Like, sometimes you break barrels, sometimes you're fighting enemies, and the bosses are kind of interesting, but at the same time, it's not good. It's not a good thing. What is the drift button? Can I not drift? Or oh, there we go. I just have to tap it, I believe? I think, yeah, so I have to, like, start braking and then use the go button. God, the controls for this game are so wonk because it didn't have the modern controllers to work with. But yeah, so like that Fire engine, Fira engine, whatever, that the Neptunia games are a good example of games that are not going to scale well on future hardware, I don't think, because of stuff like that, to where, you know, CPU threads end up getting overloaded because it's not working as expected. And I mean, those were console games. I mean, the Rebirth games specifically are Vita ports, and the Vita is very much a CPU-dependent piece of hardware. But there's actually, what I was saying, I just now remembered, I was actually watching a podcast thing from Gama Sutra, talking with the developer, or one of the developers behind the Skyrim, whatever, not the special edition, but the special edition came out, and so they were playing that and everything. And so I was interested in that because they had one of the lead developers from the original Skyrim. I can't remember his name, and I apologize, dude. Huge respects to you. Can't remember names for shit, so there you go. But yeah, so he was talking about how they would do kind of some fancy tricks with like using VRAM. Like, let's say there was a certain amount of VRAM that you didn't need, and then you also were limited on RAM, because a lot of consoles have to share a lot of aspects between the RAM and the VRAM. And so, like, let's say there was a certain area that didn't use a lot of VRAM, and so they would actually, but they actually needed like a lot of RAM, because you'd use RAM for like audio files and things like that. And so they had a lot of audio files, but they didn't have a lot of textures. And so one thing that they could end up doing is they could actually kind of compress it into the GPU, like the GPU's video memory in a proprietary format, of course. And then basically whenever they needed it, they would use the GPU to, you know, uncompress it very, very quickly, and then use that on the fly to kind of be like, here, we need these audio files, but they're not always going to be used. And so they could be uncompressed and used at different periods in time. Now, with Skyrim specifically, you can tell that they definitely did that, because there's a lot of loading issues in that game, to where, like, let's say you're running on PC, and let's say you're like me, and you might be uploading a video or something like that that's kind of like thrashing your hard drive, because it's like, yeah, we need data transfers and things like that, and so it's using up your hard drive, and your hard drive happens to be on the same, or your game happens to be on the same hard drive. Then you're like, yeah, I'm just going to be like sitting there kind of trying to play Skyrim, but then every once in a while the audio will be delayed or something like that. And that's probably part of that, you know, kind of built-in kind of system that they had for that type of audio delay and audio loading and things like that. And it kind of carries over into PC ports, which is unfortunate. But it's a cool technique regardless, you know, it's something to keep in mind when you're talking about consoles and things like that. Like, consoles have so many things to optimize that people just do not realize. It's quite incredible the amount of optimization that goes into a lot of console games to make them look as good as they do and make them run as good as they do. Like, people are talking about consoles always being 30 FPS and things like that, but like, quite frankly, that's impressive for a lot of those games, to be honest. Like, it takes a lot of stuff. Also, we unlocked the minigame Kart Racing with 3 courses and now available. Yay. I used to play that with my sister all the time. Here's where the sidewalk doesn't render. There's like random black blocks. I mean, it's supposed to be the shadow, but the shadow isn't rendering properly, and so it just looks like they're just not rendering properly, which is a bit strange. Here's the president. I think, did this come out when George Bush was in presidency? I don't remember. He's not actually based on any president, though. He's just kind of like a dude. I don't remember where the reference was from, but I don't think they used references for any of these people. Except for Eggman. They used the Eggman reference for Eggman. He looks fatter in this game. His mouth is like inside of his stomach in most of the game. Because like he leans back a lot, and then when he leans back, it's like, yeah, you're inside of me, my mouth. I'm slurring words now. We're almost at the end of the podcast, so I'm just kind of like chatting away. And this is Eggman threatening everybody. You had 24 hours. This entire game takes place in 3 days, which is kind of a weird thing. See, right here, there's shadows. Like, you can definitely tell they're not supposed to be like that, and there's kind of like the kind of spreadered black spots as well. That's from the tree shadows that aren't rendering properly. So, yeah, that's kind of annoying. I don't know if that's just the PC version, or if that's actually in all the HD ports, or if it's just my hardware and my settings. I don't know. So now Tails does some like technical magic that he does in every game, and then he takes off. That was such a long delay.
Mr. President, we're receiving an incoming signal from our agent.
Hi, Mr. President. By the way, while you're screaming and waiting in agony, I have some other information for you, so stop being a little bitch. Inside that pyramid! Yes!
Go inside the pyramid. And more importantly, I saw that Batgirl go inside with him as well.
Oh my god, the Batgirl, aka Rouge.
Well, yeah.
The sexual attraction of this game, because not everyone's into little girl Amy's, which I've got to admit I'm not too much of a fan of that either. Here's the thing, they really love herb skirts in this game too. Like, I was playing Sonic Heroes recently, not too recently, but like I played it recently. And yeah, that game basically has one team called Team Rose, and I was playing through all the stories and stuff like that. I was gonna actually do the video that I'm doing with Sonic Riders in Sonic Heroes, but I ended up scrapping that idea because some capturing problems I was having with the game, and so I thought I'd go with a shorter game so I didn't kind of lock myself into something that wasn't gonna work. Yeah, so that's another game that doesn't technically work on PC very well in some cases, but like it does at the same time. Like, those ports are actually quite impressive. Like, the old Sega ports on PC are actually pretty dang good. Like, Sonic Heroes is actually really, really good. So, like, yeah, like, it doesn't hold up, like, graphically, and there's some shadow errors and stuff like that, to where, like, shadows will kind of flicker here and there. But, like, for the most part, it's a game that still works perfectly fine, which actually surprised me, because I recently, well, not recently, this was, like, half a year ago, actually. It's quite a while ago. That was when I was living with my roommate. It's like when I first came back from California, it was like one of the first things I bought is I went on eBay and I actually picked up a copy of Sonic Heroes and Sonic Riders, because I was like, you know what, nostalgia trip, I'm going to pick it up. I had some money from some other stuff that I did from an under-the-table job. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to spend it on this. So I ended up getting those, so I have 2 copies. Found out they don't work on Windows 10 when I upgraded to Windows 10, so I actually had to read about how to actually crack the disk and everything like that, or crack the ISO and everything to actually get it to install on Windows 10, which was fun. So I have knowledge that's going to make me look like a pirate now, but that's fine. But yeah, it was interesting to play those because the ports that, you know, they have some resolution problems and stuff like that. Sonic Heroes actually has a hack that you could put into it that actually makes it properly render in widescreen. Some of the effects and stuff like that are off because they were meant for 4x3, and so there's some like menus and things like that get cut off and things like that. But it was so interesting to play those games because they run extremely well, and they don't have any issues, like aside from some of the shadow glitching, which, to be fair, you know, I'll play The Witcher 3 and get shadow glitches and stuff like that, so it's not exactly something that's, you know, uncommon in games, but like, because shadowing's hard. But like, yeah, I was playing those and it was actually kind of cool. Also, this game, you know, actually runs pretty well, and it's one of the first Sonic games I noticed that has shadowed bitmaps, and so you can actually see the little wall there. That's actually a flat image, but it kind of like has the shadows and stuff like that. And that's actually a texture and everything. This is the first Sonic game that I've seen that actually does that, and these walls do it as well. It's obviously a fake shadow, it's fake bump maps, but like, it's still a bump map regardless, sort of. It's kind of interesting. I don't know. I thought it was cool. I like this game a lot. I like it quite a bit. I'm running out of things to talk about, but I kind of want to like finish up the level before I end up the podcast ending the podcast. We've only been for an hour. Normally we'd run for 2 hours, but like, I don't think I can do that physically by myself. So when I'm by myself, it'll probably end up just being an hour. And you never know. Like, we could be at the 5 minutes before we close, and somebody else could end up joining and making this conversation interesting. I want to get the chow. Yay! Wait, did I not go to the chow? Oh yeah, the last level was the race car level, which doesn't actually have a chow box, which is lame. But regardless, I like the level design in this game too. Like, Adventure 1 has some more classic style level design, but this one really kind of moved it up and modernized it quite a lot, which is also one of the reasons why it ends up holding up as a platformer. You know, it's obviously not the most mechanically advanced or anything like that, but it is definitely a fun game to still play. Like, I'm enjoying playing it right now. It's a fun game, but it definitely isn't up to standards on the new games, I would say. Like, Sonic Generations is miles beyond anything that a Sonic game could ever do in the past. It is so good. Like Sonic Colors, which I actually played recently. I have it on the Wii. I absolutely hate the Wii, and I gotta say, the gimmicky fucking controls in that game have made me stop playing it. Because, like, there's this part where you get the color abilities, and it's like, shake the Wiimote, and I'm like, no. Like, just straight up no. I don't want to shake the Wiimote. That is stupid. I hate shaking motion controls. It's stupid. I like the Kinect because you're moving and you get to do things. And like, even when they're terrible, like let's say Sonic Freeriders, which is probably one of the worst motion control games I've ever played, but at the same time, it's also one of the best. It's actually quite fun. But like, you know, those controls are actually fun. But like shaking a Wiimote left and right to do things is it's not interesting to me at all. Maybe I'm alone on that. You know, some people actually like it. Like, I know people liked it in Zelda. But when I played Twilight Princess, I'm like, I can't play this, and so I'm playing through the GameCube version. So that's how that goes, because like, I hate motion controls. And I also hate the gimmicky stuff that they do in some Sonic games. Like that racing segment and stuff like that. Like, I don't necessarily like the racing segments. I think they're kind of like tacked on, and they're not really fun. Like, this stuff is kind of fun. You know, this is a platformer stuff. This is what I expect, and this is what I enjoy. But when I go into those racing segments, I'm like, this isn't very well designed. It's not interesting. It doesn't change up as you play it. It's more of just follow this track for a time limit. And I like the idea that they're kind of changing up the mechanics as the game goes on, but at the same time, it's not very interesting. So, you know, don't do things just because you can. You need to have a reason to do it. And I believe the reason was, one, it had a tie into the story, which recently there was actually an interview that I read from, once again, I can't remember his name, but he said there was a lot of trouble with like Sonic 06 and Sonic Adventure and things like that, to where they had limitations on what they were doing because they had a story that they wanted to follow. And then other games, like especially, you know, later games, they didn't actually end up following that. So I think Sonic Unleashed was one of the examples that he gave, to where he's like, yeah, we didn't really follow a story, we just had locations, and then we built levels based on those locations, which that game actually has some really cool levels. Like, I love the China-based levels. Those are freaking awesome. I should play through, you know what, next week I should probably play through the modded version of Sonic Generations and play through those levels, because they're so awesome, and I'd love to show them off. But yeah, anyways, I'm going to go ahead and feed the chow here and end up closing this out. I'm kind of depressed nobody joined me. That's kind of lame, you know, for the new format and everything, if you're still watching and wondering what's going to go on. So our new days are Saturday, so we're going to be going live on Saturday nights from now on. It may just be me from now on, or it may not be me. I don't know what's going to go on, quite honestly. I started a new thing I'm calling Open Mic. So basically anybody that's on the invite list, so like let's say you're a creator and you want to join the podcast and stuff like that, go ahead and join the Discord. You can find a link in the description if you're watching the VOD. If not, it will be on the Twitch channel at some point. And then go ahead and apply as a creator. If you pass my test, which is basically you have content created. I don't really discriminate based off subscriber numbers or anything like that, so you can have whatever. And then you can go ahead and join the chat. And if you're just somebody who wants to join and chat along, then you have a little bit longer of an application progress because I have to make sure no trolls are getting in here. But if they just want to join in, then yeah. But I have an open mic, so basically anybody in the Discord can join. I have limited to 3 people at the moment for the podcast. But yeah, you can just go ahead and join in the chat. It's a pretty chill place if anybody wants to just find a place to hang out with video creators and viewers alike and just hang out. Me and my friend have been doing almost nightly League of Legends play sessions, so if you want to join me in League of Legends, I definitely would enjoy seeing you on there. I'll probably be playing Siege tonight for the Nexus Siege mode, which is super fun. That's a fun game mode I didn't talk too much about. Let's go ahead and talk about that for a little bit, and then I'll close out. But yeah, so the Nexus Siege mode, I was talking about it being tower defense, but like, it's kind of like a mode to where there's 2 sides, and you actually get a turn on each side, so there's attack and defend. And it's actually really interesting because they added new mechanics and things like that, and everyone levels at the same time, which makes balance issues 100% apparent because certain characters scale way better than others. And obviously that's going to be partially on the game mode. It'll be like, oh yeah, this game mode is, you know, more favorable towards these champions. But it seems like most of the champions that I play on there end up being viable. Like, I even played Sona, and it's ended up being pretty viable as long as I have a team that can clear waves. Like, Sona is a great kind of like almost an AP carry sort of character a lot of times, and the support can actually make it so that you can stand fights, because a lot of it is kind of sustaining your battles and just sustaining for as long as you can. And so, you know, having Sona is pretty actually useful on that level. I'm not actually going to finish this level, but I am just going to keep running while I'm talking. But yeah, back to the podcast. So the podcast is mostly going to be probably just me for a while. I'm trying to get people to join in, but it is one of those cases to where, you know, I have an open mic, so anybody can join at any point during the podcast if they want to. But like, people say they're going to show up and they just don't, which is kind of disappointing. So, you know, one of those things that I'm excited for about, you know, getting larger on YouTube and everything is actually being able to kind of contact larger creators, because a lot of the lower level creators, I'm just going to call them lower level because why not, basically just don't have the dedication and they don't really follow through on things as well. Like, I can understand not showing up for the podcast and be like, hey, something showed up or something like that. But like, it's just so difficult to work with a lot of people because they'll be like, yeah, I'd love to be on the podcast, I'd love to be a regular, and then they just never contact you again. And if you message them, it's even worse because they just say, like, just ignore you. And it's like, all right, well, like, I can see you're online. You're literally on the Discord thing. It says that you're playing a game and everything. And I know it doesn't say you're streaming, you're not recording or anything like that. And it's like, just message me back, guys. Come on. So yeah, hopefully in the future, we end up getting more people on board. And I don't like to discriminate based off of like the subscriber numbers or anything like that. So one of the things I'm always going to end up doing is being like, hey, you know what? We've got, you know, slots open. If somebody that has like 5 subscribers wants to join in the fun, I'm 100% okay with it, because like, there's been some awesome people that I've talked to that just, you know, don't have the viewership and stuff like that. And I mean, even myself, for a very long time, people were like, your content's awesome. Like, how do you have people following you? And I mean, I'm getting subscribers as time goes on, so inevitably I'm gonna grow. But at the same time, it takes a lot longer than people realize. You know, it's taken me 2 years to get to where I am now. Now, to be fair, I ended up quitting like multiple times. Well, not really quitting, but I had to take long breaks. Like, I moved to California one time. I was having financial problems for a while and stuff like that, and hopefully none of that returns. And so, you know, it wasn't constant. But, like, it takes a long time to grow an audience, and you just never know who you're going to find. And, like, you know, I want to end up helping with that in the future. If I can end up growing this podcast especially, like, it'll be like, hey, I have a podcast, you've got 10 subscribers, but you make some awesome fucking videos. Join me in the podcast, and hopefully we can get some carryover, you know? It's one of those sort of things. And no, it's not just all business. I enjoy doing this. I've enjoyed just sitting here playing and talking. My throat is starting to bother the living hell out of me, though. Like, I've been dealing with what is probably bronchitis, to be honest. I've been coughing like crazy and everything and throwing up mucus. It's not fun. But regardless, you know, I enjoy doing this quite a bit, and I enjoy doing my video reviews and things like that, and I'm having a lot more fun kind of just talking with people as well. Like, one of the reasons I started this podcast in the first place was just to talk with people and talk with other creators, and I hate this camera is like trying to do all cinematic and stuff like that, and it's just screwing it up. I was supposed to hit that thing that goes vroom, and then the hourglass to get through a door down here. I think I'm just going to finish this level because I'm already like almost halfway through it, or even more halfway through it. So I'm just going to finish up this level and then restart. Go down here. So we have to actually hit this thing and then get to the end of the level. There we go. And then there's these guys. This is where I'll use this thing and go phew. That's how you actually build up speed the fastest in the game. You just go boom and then undo it real quick. So what you do is, I'm using an Xbox controller. God damn it. So you just hold down X and then tap it real quick once you let go, and then you'll end up going the fastest you can possibly go, which is, I think that's a physics bug, to be honest. I don't think that's supposed to happen, but that's what happens regardless. So there you go. Also, there's an alternate pathway we can do here if you have the Mystic Melody, which you actually get on the space level or whatever. Can't remember what the level is actually called, but it's like the spacey level and everything like that. It's quite a fun level. I actually like those levels quite a bit. They're the funnest multiplayer levels too, because they're the only levels that I can actually screw up on in the multiplayer stages. Like, this game actually has multiplayer. It's not online, but it has local multiplayer, which is something that people have been missing. Come on, developers, bring that back. But yeah, it's actually kind of fun. I wish I could get my sister to join me in videos for that type of stuff, because it would be really fun to have her on the podcast, me and her just kind of playing multiplayer games, because we could talk for hours on end. So having her on the podcast would be great, because it's better than being solo, I gotta tell you that, because I am running out of things to talk about. Normally when I do these videos, I have, you know, something in my brain when I'm talking about it, and I have kind of like a pseudo script, like all my reviews and things like that. They have like a sort of script, like they have bullet points essentially. It's a little bit more advanced than bullet points, but I have like things that I'm going to talk about and stuff like that, and then like I just kind of go off on a tangent and be like, boom, gonna go. And so that's a lot easier for me. But when I go into this, I'm like, I was sitting here before the podcast, like, I don't know if I can do this. But I've sat here talking for an hour and a half. I think it's been an hour and a half. I went live a little bit late, so I haven't been quite there. Here's a cutscene. We're actually almost done with the hero story. I kind of just want to bust it out and do the entire hero story, but I think I'm going to wait. Because I am kind of getting coarse. Getting a little bit hoarse here. Gonna turn into glue.
We can find it. Right, Knuckles? What? Why do I have to find the key?
Because you're good at finding things, Knuckles. Thanks for watching. Yeah, Knuckles is basically the character that goes and finds stuff for everyone. Yeah, we're not going to play through this, but anyways, this has been the Broken Chatbox. I mean, I may as well just brand it as me just live streaming, basically. I have a little tiny words things in the bottom right. This is the Broken Chatbox. The idea is that when I do these, because I am going to start live streaming more often, so if you're watching this just as a live streaming, you know, watching me play a game or something like that and chat away, I am planning on live streaming a little bit more. I'm going to be doing more analytical type stuff soon. So basically I'll be doing, like, let's say I'm working on a review for a game. I'll end up going into a game, kind of doing a mini review while I'm doing live kind of figuring stuff out and things like that. Like, I always thought those were kind of interesting. I know that another YouTuber called Total Biscuit, I know people have heard of him. I don't like kind of pointing out that I'm almost copying him in some aspects, because, like, I'm technically not. It was an idea that I've had for a very long time. But, like, you know, actually when I did my first impressions review, which people love to compare to Total Biscuit and the like, I actually didn't even know Total Biscuit existed, to be honest. I was like, oh, who's Total Biscuit? Because, like, one of my friends was like, oh, you're like that one popular YouTuber, Total Biscuit. He does, like, video reviews and things. And I was like, huh? And so I checked him out later. I'm like, oh, wow, this guy's actually really cool. So, like, I kind of like him and stuff like that. Don't agree with everything he says, but yeah. Anyways, he does, like, some things called research streams every once in a while, and I wish he did them more, because I think it's really interesting to have a game that they're kind of figuring out while they're actually looking at it critically. And so, you know, you'll be playing the game, and you'll be able to get, like, sort of a mini review while they're playing it. And it's like, you know, oh, this mechanic works this way, and I think it should work this way instead, and, you know, these other sort of things aren't really what they should be and things like that. And it's kind of interesting to see that live. And I enjoy watching people figure things out on videos. Like, I'm quite different than most people that watch videos. Most people watch videos and they're like, I need to watch funny commentary and stuff like that. I'm more into the calm guys. They're kind of chill and figuring things out. And I have a feeling that when I'm doing these live streams, that's probably what I'm going to end up doing, is just chatting away, like, with that type of nonsense. But yeah, I'll be doing live streams more often and stuff like that. You can find me on YouTube and stuff like that. The links are below in the Twitch thing. If you're on the archive, you're already there. But make sure to follow me on Twitch as well. It'll also help me try and get a partnership, which won't happen for years, I'm assuming. But I may as well try, you know? You may as well try. But yeah, so hopefully you've enjoyed this episode of the Broken Chatbox that may as well just be labeled me streaming for an hour and a half. Next week, we'll either come back to this game or we'll end up playing something else. I don't know. It's going to mostly depend on whoever we just, kind of throw into the podcast. If people are like, hey, we should play this game in the background, then maybe we could do it. If I would have been able to get my friend, we were actually going to, or I was going to at least try and get him to play League of Legends with me on the podcast, and then we would have been playing that Siege mode I was talking about, which would have been super fun. But that didn't end up happening, so yeah, I don't even know where he went. He's been gone all day, so we might not actually do our nightly kind of League of Legends section, which is going to be boring for me because that means I have to find something else to do. Maybe I'll actually work on a video for once in my life. That might be something I do. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to go ahead and end it off here before I actually finish another level. Like, this level is going to take another few minutes. Should I just finish it up? No. It's almost 7, which is our closing time. I think I'm done. Also, my neck's starting to hurt from kneeling over, using the microphone and everything like that, and my voice is starting to get a little bit crackly and all that, so, yeah, I should probably make sure it's even live. I don't even know if we're live. We're probably live. I might have just talked. It's still locally recording. Yeah, it looks good. Oh, also, if you're watching still, give me feedback on the video, because I need it. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. My name has been Michael. I'm the host of this whole shebang, and probably the only one that's ever going to end up doing it in the future, because nobody shows up. Thanks a lot, guys. I'm kind of sour about it, to be honest. I'm sorry for complaining. Anyways, you can find me at the YouTube /MICHAELPSTANICH, which is Michael P. Stanich. You can also go to my website to check out some of my graphic design stuff, and you can also end up following me here on Twitch, which is the /Spirit Shard, so SPIRIT_SHARD. I don't spell that very often, so I'm sorry for stuttering there. Yeah, regardless, thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully you join us next week and give me some feedback on how this went. This is the new format to where we're kind of doing a Let's Play and chat style thing. It would have been awesome if somebody would have joined me because I would have been able to kind of test out how that would work. We do have one-to-one streaming software. So basically, if somebody wanted to, like, let's say we get somebody on here before the show starts, then we could actually have it so that one person could actually watch the stream without the delay on Twitch and everything like that, which is actually pretty dang cool. And so we may be able to use that to kind of make this more interesting and things like that. So it'll be like a couch co-op sort of situation while doing the podcast, which would be fun. And hopefully my commentary has been up to snuff. It's been a long time since I've done Let's Play. So yeah, that's how I'm going to go. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. We're going to close it out here, and we will see you next week on Saturday at 5 p.m. PST. Also, check out the archive if you missed earlier episodes.